hear so much about culture, and Andy Reid was just in there talking about the leaders, but you've been around this team for a while. How would you describe what makes this team kind of accept everybody, bring everybody in, whether it's a midseason trade, a rookie, a veteran, and ultimately it filters through Andy Reid and it all just keeps working?
I think there's this kind of head-down mentality. It's humble, it's gritty. We start training camp in dorm rooms, and not a lot of teams do that anymore. They're in hotels.
It's very like 1950s, 70s, 80s.
Exactly,
yeah.
and I think a lot of the guys, when they come to the team, they're not super excited about that. And you have somewhat of a roommate as well during training camp. So we start off the season basically like that in training camp, and then guys talk about how our training camp practices and then our early practices at the start of the year are extremely difficult. And I think we start with this level of grittiness that carries us all the way to the Super Bowl, and it allows guys to have the fortitude and the strength to push through 4 quarters of football.
Almost like breaks down the egos and every year, and you build it back up.
Yes, and there's that humility aspect you see from our leaders, Travis and Patrick. Obviously they have big personalities and their names are known throughout the world, but when they're in the building, they're just humble, hardworking men. And I think that encourages a lot of guys on this team to say, well, if those guys who have so many off-the-field opportunities and so many other things going on, if they can still be dialed in and focused when they're in this building, then I definitely should be locked in and focused as well.
You guys brought in DeAndre Hopkins mid-season. He's talked about how joining the Chiefs has completely revitalized him. He was wondering if he wanted to keep doing this, and now he's in the Super Bowl with you guys. What have you seen from him in terms of what he's brought, his leadership, and that veteran presence he has as a wide receiver?
I'm on year 8, so I always like seeing the guys that are older than me coming in, trying to learn from the vets. But he's a very mature veteran football player, and I think he's been great for the locker room. He details his work, and I know he doesn't take any opportunity, any game, any play for granted. And it's great to see a talent like DeAndre Hopkins in a Chiefs jersey, in our locker room.
What's this team and franchise meant to you? When you get drafted, if you're traded, you don't have any choice where you go in the NFL, right? You're going to be on the New York Giants or the Carolina Panthers or the Philadelphia Eagles. This team, this organization seems like it's really fit you, and you've been able to, even with everything you've dealt with, really find a home with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it's been great. I didn't watch the Chiefs growing up at all. I grew up in Atlanta, and for whatever reason, we didn't get the AFC West games. Obviously NFC South Falcons. I came here, and I must have gotten here I think I got here on a Monday or Tuesday, but I remember just driving around and seeing so many people throughout the city in Chiefs gear. Maybe it was Red Friday, but there were so many people that were just diehard Chiefs fans that I really wasn't used to seeing that in Atlanta. There's a lot of other things going on, but in Kansas City, the fans are just diehard Chiefs fans. So you immediately feel the love when you come to an organization like this. And then my wife and I, our family, have come to really enjoy the Midwest, Missouri, Kansas. And obviously, when you have all of this success, it makes everything greater. But Coach Reid's the type of coach that he wants to make the week and the season enjoyable, but he knows that the most fun you're ever going to have is going to come from winning big games and having success. So when you put in the work in your preparation, you have so much fun on the backside when you win these games.
Just a couple more for you, and I really appreciate it. I thought it was very telling for you guys. You mentioned everything you mentioned, the culture, breaking everything down, that when you made those comments during the offseason, and some people loved them and some people didn't like it, we all know that. But Patrick Mahomes, when he was asked about it, he had your back, B, he said he didn't really want to get involved, and C, he made it clear that the entire team had your back, and people could think whatever they wanted to think. It was America. There's freedom of thought, freedom of speech. What did that mean to have one of the biggest names in the sports world go out of his way to back you?
You definitely appreciate a guy like Patrick, basically handling it how he did, and I think every athlete makes that decision. Do you want to be vocal on the things that you believe in or not? Every individual makes that decision, and obviously we all have opinions. We don't necessarily always share them, and I decided to share some of my opinions. But what I think maybe some people don't realize is in the locker room, guys are sharing all sorts of opinions that don't make it public. So when the outside sees a guy sharing opinions that might be controversial, they think, whoa, this is crazy and going to disrupt the locker room. But they don't realize that we have a lot of great civil conversations that are crazy, both ends of the spectrum, and we all love each other and fight for a common goal. So, a speech like that, I don't think was anything crazy for for guys in the locker room.
And lastly, I really appreciate your time being back in the Super Bowl. A lot of guys, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, there's a shot he never going to play in the Super Bowl. You're able to do this. You've had a game-winning kick before, but I'm sure as a competitor, as someone who dreamed of this as a kid, this never gets old at all, and you don't want to ever take it for granted.
No, you definitely don't ever want to take it for granted. And I mean, every year you think about going to the Super Bowl, and it seems like such a long shot, at least for me. And I'm like, okay, I can't even think about that. We just got to focus on training camp, one game at a time. And then it seems like every year we find ourselves at this game. You're like, wow, this is actually real. We're playing in another Super Bowl again. So you definitely don't take it for granted. It's a blessing to be in this position, and I know we're going to be ready to go for Sunday.
And then you guys are so good now that people either you mentioned the Chiefs fans, they either absolutely love you or they can't stand you, which is also a sign to me of how dominant this team has been, to where you are kind of in some ways the new evil empire, the new Patriots with Tom Brady and the Dynasty.
I mean, I understand it. I remember growing up when I was in elementary school, we would do a soup kitchen, like donate cans of soup, and it would have those Super Bowl teams, and it was always like the Patriots versus another team, and I never put the soup cans with the Patriots because I was so tired of seeing them.
No soup cans for Tom Brady
Exactly.
and Bill Belichick.
I was so tired of seeing them in the Super Bowl every year, so if all these fans out there are anything like myself, they're just getting tired of seeing the Chiefs, but that comes with success, and obviously it doesn't affect us, right? We still prepare and do our very best to win as many games as we can.
I appreciate the time.
Thank you.